Now, I actually signed up as a volunteer. I am Dr. Adam Lim, alright. I'm the director of Save Our Seahorses Malaysia. Right. At the same time, I'm also the Southeast Asia focal point under the IUCN SSC, Seahorse, Pipefish and Sea Dragon Specialist Group. I've been going around and doing quite a fair bit of talks about sharing about seahorses to schools and to members of the public and families alike. You know, they will call me Dr. Seahorse because I'll be the guy that's going to be sharing, you know, the wonderful adventures and the different kind of superhero kind of abilities that a seahorse have. To go out to look for seahorses as part of, you know, monitoring the health, tagging seahorses. You know, it was quite cool as a student back then. So I signed up for it, traveled all the way down. I went on my maiden adventure to look for seahorses. But unfortunately for me on that day, I was the only person on the whole trip which was unable to look for a single seahorse, which, you know, I was quite bummed out about it. So what happened was that subsequently I signed up for the very next trip, and the same thing occurred that there were no seahorses for me. So a month later, I set off down here again, went on my third trip, and it was that very morning, I remember very clearly at 8 a.m, I spotted my first pair of seahorses, one male and female. They were actually doing this morning courtship dance routine, and there at that point, it's like, you know, I was so mesmerized about it. But the question that hit me was that the ocean is quite a huge place, it's quite a vast ocean space, and how do seahorses meet with the very same partner every morning? I think that really got the whole ball rolling. That's where I would say the love for seahorses really grew at that point of time. The research for my PhD was exactly the same, you know, as an extension of the research I did for my undergraduate. I discovered that seahorses actually produce a sound. It's like our snapping sound, right? It's like seahorse clicking sound, and which led me to, you know, further to understand, want to really research how these sounds are being produced. You know, is it the same within the species or is it the same between individuals? So that was most of the basic coverage of my PhD. So it took me a great 7 years. It's quite an extensive time that I took. But, you know, the results were magnificent. We found out that, you know, seahorses are just unique on their own.
Those are more side-faithful. You can call them solitary at the same time. When the female comes in, so look for seahorses and pipefishes. Right, this is a home of pipefishes. We call this the Merambu seagrass bait. So what we have here, what we spotted is a pipefish. We call this an alligator pipefish. It's a cousin of the seahorse. Right, it's a cousin of a seahorse. So why are they called the cousin of the seahorse? Is because they share the same snout, the mouth-like. So it's like a straw-like snout when they suck up their prey. So like the seahorse and their cousins, they are purely carnivorous, and they actually protect this area and maintain the balance in the whole ecosystem.
Why seahorses? Is because seahorses can be found in all marine habitats. The only place they're not found is actually up in the river, in the freshwater system. So anything that's marine or the sea, we have different kinds of seahorses, different species, you know, dwelling in the different kinds of habitat. Seahorses are purely carnivorous, so that means they only eat other animals. So that puts them in the same level as the shark. They actually sit on the very top of the food chain as sharks. And like sharks, they actually control the health of the ecosystem. Our role models are the real true heroes of here in Malaysia. Of course, not forgetting them. I think the main one would be my late former mentor, Mr. Chu Chi Kwang. He was, his real passion and enthusiasm about seahorses that's really translated over back to me. And also not forgetting the chair of the IUCN Seahorse Special Group, Professor Amanda Vincent, who I really admire and idolize. Starting off because as a student embarking on this seahorse journey, I was watching her on documentary. It's not until 2011 that I get to see her in person. Had lunch and had coffee to really pick her brain. I think up until today, she's really been a guiding light, offering lots of advice, tons for me to learn. Also, I would like to add, the other role models I have are the other conservationists that we have in Malaysia. We may not be working on the same animals, but I'm always learning from their efforts and learning from their activities and what kind of challenges that they and how they overcome them. They have been the true model and the real unsung hero of the country in not only protecting for the environment and caring for the animals and the habitat that they all dwell in. Seahorses not only change color like the chameleons, we call them the chameleons of the sea. So they get to darken, they get to brighten to match the surrounding, to hide away because they're not really great swimmers. But what I really like about this unique ability is that because seahorses tend to get a little bit emotional in my perspective. So they brighten when they see their partner, or when they are really stressed out, they are sometimes affected by things or the surrounding. They really will darken it out, as you mentioned. So it's like I would like to call them seahorses, just emotional fishes, and that's really cool. I won't say I relate to that because it's just that it's something that I enjoy telling it as a story when I tell to the kids, members of the public. It's really where you take science and facts and really bring it down back to the level of the public, and where people really can easily understand, and through understanding they learn to love seahorse as much as I do. What's my wish, especially in a Malaysian setting, right? So it's not only my wish, I think it's a wish of my team members and the organization, is to one day get seahorses to be recognized and get some form of legal protection in the country. Hi, I'm Dr. Adam, and this is my story. Should I do it more casually? Because if casually, I'm going to say, they actually dance like Bollywood. Just going wrong. Bye bye. So we restart. Like a we call it a pre-heads.